Hey guys, OG Albina here, bringing you guys our BBR Season 5 Week 6 battle against Kirby and his Winnipeg Blue Blastoise. Man, if I had to have you guys check out one guy in this league, it would be Kurt. By far my favorite content creator in this league. Also one of my closest friends on the internet. Absolutely love Kurt to death. But he really does make incredible stuff, and he's getting really close to 1,000 subs. I think he's pushing 900, something like that. Now, I'm not expecting us to get him to 1,000, but I mean, if we could, that'd be incredible. Go check him out in the description below. If you guys enjoyed today's team builder / mock analysis, be sure to drop a like on the video and sub to the channel. I would appreciate a sub as well if you're new here. And yeah, so if you guys didn't check out last week, which was the first week we did this, I'm going to be doing separate videos for my team builders, but not only just for my team builders, I'm actually going to be doing them for my mocks as well, and kind of just going over important talking points that happened during the mocks and things I'm realizing in my preparations to kind of get us prepared for the battle, which goes up tomorrow at probably 9 a.m. PST. So, yeah, with that being said, let's jump into the team builder. Our team is at the top of the screen, if you forgot, and it consists of Great Tusk, Terra Water and Fire, Iron Moth, Rotom Wash, Screamtail, Fortress, Hydreigon, Talonflame, I almost called it its nickname, Gothitail, not Moira, Breloom, Ursaring, and Spidops, while our opponent's team is at the bottom of the screen, and it consists of Iron Bundle, Terra, Water, and Fire, Volk, so it's the Moth matchup, King Gambit, Slowking, Serena, Hydreigon, just kidding, Iron, what do you call it, what's its name? Oh my gosh, Iron Jugulis, Gardevoir, Palmot, Hippowdon, Lycanroc, and Muck. Now, biggest stress to me. Man, oh man, does that bundle scare the ever-living shit out of me. Bundle plus Volk, honestly, just kind of wins on matchup. We have to be so incredibly careful about those things, and I'm bringing some craziness to ensure that we can kind of beat it, and we'll see if it ends up working. I wouldn't even say it's craziness, but let's just say we got a fellow coming off the bench here to, you know, pull up and hopefully do well for us. But other than that, I actually think I covered some things pretty well. Iron Jugulis is really obnoxious for me, especially if it's a knockoff set. We'll get into why later. Other than that, I actually think I checked the rest of his offense very well. Besides maybe Gardevoir, which is getting a little bit sticky. But if it's not Scarf, the rest of my team like outspeeds it and kills it. And if it is Specs, then I have a lot of things to... Or if it is Scarf, most things on my team can eat a hit. Kind of deal with it accordingly. Alright, let's jump into it. First up, we do have the Great Tusk rocking out the leftovers. Earthquake, Knockoff, Body Press, and Stealth Rock. EVs wise, you got 248 HP, 60 defense, and 200 speed with a Jolly Nature. EVs wise, we are creeping max speed Gardevoir, and then with the rest of our HP plus our defense. Honestly, this is probably the worst Great Tusk matchup of the season. It really is. There's so much to offensively pressure it, there's so much to switch into it, but we need it this week. Why do we need it? Because King Gambit plus Lycanroc plus Palmot really do me dirty without it, so it's kind of a necessary evil this week. It does get up rocks pretty freely on all of those Pokemon. If I get up rocks, it's great in chipping some other things down. We can chip some things down with Earthquake, Body Press. Knocking off items is also going to be imperative this week. If we can force in a Shed Shell Hippo, knock off its Shed Shell, we're in a really good spot, honestly. So, yeah, I do think it does pretty well despite it doing really bad. Yeah, next up we have Ursaring coming off the bench. The bear is here. I have the wrong moves on this slide. We are Body Slam, Rest, Bulk Up, and Sleep Talk, not Body Press. Sorry, I must have messed up in that. We are Max Spadef. This thing munches from both Iron Bundle and Volcarona. Unless it's Specs, it's not 3 at KOing me with Bundle, which is insane, meaning I can Rest Talk all over that thing. I can also Rest Talk on Volcarona, and if you guys don't know, when we're sleeping, our Guts is active, so those will be Guts boosted Body Slams. He doesn't have a Ghost type on his team, so Normal is free to spam, plus if I can trap Hippowdon and get rid of King Gambit, which I honestly think is really bad into me, this Pokemon is a phenomenal win con. Like, an incredible win con, and I'm really hoping it pops off. Have to be careful about Trick, have to be careful about knockoff Iron Jugulis. Next up, we have a Black Belt Breloom rocking out with Bolt Seed, Mach Punch, Close Combat, and Swords Dance. 176 HP, 220 attack, 16 defense, and 96 speed with an Adamant Nature. Now, what are these EVs for, my kind viewer? Let me tell you. We are creeping an Adamant King Gambit in case it wants to be really fast with Aerial Ace. We live an Adamant Play Rough after Rocks from Serena, so we can knock that thing out with the rest of our attack. And that Close Combat is really free in this game. His Fighting Resist are things that don't want to take Bolt Seed. That's basically it. That's kind of the answer. Now, something like Volk can switch in on our dual stats, and once it tears, it doesn't anymore. And the strong Mach Punch is honestly nice for a weakened Volk, and that's kind of how I'm expecting things to go. But the close combat switch-ins are Gardevoir and Slowking. Have fun taking a Bullet Seed to the noggin. Muck does check this, but I don't think Muck comes because I got a Great Tusk. Next up, we have Gothitelle coming off the bench after a while. Psyshock, Focus Blast, Grass Knot, and Shadow Ball with the choice specs. 200 HP, 176 special attack, and 172 special attack, and 136 speed with a modest nature. Pretty simple stuff. We are creeping Adamant Gambino, Big King Gambit, so that we can knock it out with a Focus Blast. We live 1 Bug Buzz, and then we have the rest in our special attack. Psyshock is going to be good for doing a lot of damage to Volk, because we hit it from the defense, and not the special defense. If it starts quivering in my face, it won't be able to get past +1 in me at all. We can live a hit from the bundle, knock it out with a Focus Blast or a Shadow Ball with a little bit of chip. Focus Blast is great for the Gambit. I really want a Thunderbolt on this thing to at least threaten the Iron Jugulis, but I really couldn't fit it. Focus Blast is a lot, and I felt that trapping something like Gambit was much better for my team than trapping something and like living a hit from the Jugulis, because the Jugulis can also just U-turn on me, and that doesn't seem worth it. So I don't want to try and allocate coverage for it when I don't beat it. Grass Knot is for the Hippo, and we'll kind of talk about why we're Grass Knot over E-Ball. Then lastly, we have, second to last, we have our lead in Iron Moth rocking out with the heavy duty boots. Terra Water this week with Fiery Dance, Terra Blast, Discharge, Morning Sun, 120 HP, 148 special attack, and 240 speed with a Timid Nature. We're not too KO'd by Gardevoir, so we have a nice pivot into that thing, unless it's Psyshock. And then we are creeping Jugulis, maxed rest in special attack. This is a phenomenal lead. There's nothing on his team that can OHKO this Pokemon. Outside of Specs Bundle, really almost nothing OHKOs this Pokemon with Terra Water on his team. And we can really be a nuisance to his team. If he wants to go like AV Slowking, we actually just beat it 1v1. Like very easily with Morning Sun. It's very tough for him to try and beat us with that Pokemon. Discharge can bait some pairs on the thing as well as good coverage for it. And then Fiery Dance, Terra Blast hits everything else incredibly hard. Then lastly, we have a Scarf Hydreigon, really good in this matchup if you look at his team. His Fairy type is Gardevoir, which is neutral to Dark, so I think that this thing's coverage is pretty solid here. We are Dark Pulse, U-Turn, Draco Meteor, Focus Blast, 40 HP, max special attack, and 216 speed with a modest nature. We're creeping Gardevoir, max special attack, rest in HP. Pretty simple stuff. Good revenge killer, things like Bundle. If we can catch that King Gambit with the Focus Blast, it is Dark Pulse City Baby. We can also spam Dracos pretty freely once the Gardevoir is gone. Gotta be careful about things like Volk setting up on us, but other than that, pretty good Pokemon. And yeah, that being said, I'll be right back with the mock analysis. Alrighty, here we are with mock 1. Like I said before, I'm not necessarily going to be like doing full-on analysis of every single mock and every single play that I make and things like that, because we'd be here for a long time. But what I want to do is I kind of want to go over these things just so you can see like the main important things that we see in these games. So first up, we have our mock against Bic, and I think it's pretty important to talk about my lead immediately, because unlike last week when we did it with Amel, I actually know what my lead is going to be immediately in this matchup, and it's always going to be Iron Moth. If you look at the team, in particular Bic brought, Bundle has to be specs to OHKO me, and even then, it's a 50% roll. And I like that information. Plus, he has to call whether or not I'm going to tear or not. It's really not in his best interest to stay in. I could also be Scarf. So realistically, he probably shouldn't stay in that regards. Volk lead, probably not happening. I could bait a Discharge pair and then switch out. That's basically what I'm thinking with Volk. Slowking, it can't really break me very well. If it's like a Calm Mind variant, that's fine. I have ways of revenging that, particularly things like my Breloom. Absolutely nuke it, and even things like Ursaring beat it 1v1. The Iron Jugulis, I beat 1v1. The Hippowdon, I scare out with the Terra Blast, and Terra Blast is pretty darn free, so I can kind of just click Fiery Dance. And then Gardevoir, it's another thing that I'm supposed to be here to check. So, yeah, that's basically kind of my reasoning behind the lead Iron Moth, and it really leads against a lot of the things he left on the bench here, too. But yeah, other than that, we can kind of just jump into it. This mock, nothing in particular super crazy happened. There's one play that I didn't like for myself, and you'll see how crazy lead Iron Moth goes in this instance. We do see the knockoff, and this kind of tipped me off that I need to be careful about knockoff when it comes to this Iron Jugulis, because my best switch is honestly Ursaring, and if I get knocked or I lose my item, I'm in a bad spot, so I gotta be careful. Out comes the Slowking. We see that it's like AV, and you'll see there that AV really doesn't beat me all too well, as I can kind of just Morning Sun up on it, click a Discharge. It's forced out right here. I'm Morning Sun up to full. I take a Future Sight, and here I'm going to take an Energy Ball, and I'm actually going to click Morning Sun. And I'm not a big fan of this play, and this is kind of the main play that I wanted to talk about, because while I do live, I get the Morning Sun up, and I kind of see what he wants to lock into if he's Scarf. One, if he specs, he killed me right there, right? Or no, he didn't kill me because I got back up to full, and I guess I would have known that, but if that was a roll and I died, I guess it also doesn't matter. But it's more so that living here and getting this chip off means my Breloom endgame is super duper free, and it really, really helps out in that. So I think I should have probably just valued getting off like a Terra Blast on this thing and doing a ton of damage, or even baiting a Discharge pair, because I don't OHKO this one with anything anyways. So you'll see I do Morning Sun up, but no, I'm forced out the next turn. I do know that this thing is Scarf now, which is obviously really good information, which means I can go hard Hydreigon, U-turn out, get into my Gothitelle, and just click Energy Ball. You'll see that I have Energy Ball in these first couple mocks, and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit more later on, why I stopped being Energy Ball. So right here, I do pick it off. The Volcarona is going to come out, but you're going to see Big Bear's going to come in. He's going to do the damn thing. He does his job. We click Body Slam. We take 39 from a +2 Volcarona. Get the bear on the next one. We get crit this time, but it doesn't really matter. If we have Moth to revenge, we have this to revenge. Plenty of things, really. And then this goes down, bundle comes out, but it's fine. Goth can actually come out and be kind of a nuisance here. And just click a button. I believe Guard comes out. We just click Energy Ball. And we just click Energy Ball. He gets a Spadef drop right here. And we're going to force out, sack our Tusk because we don't need it. I'm going to go Goth, and I actually learned something right here as well, too, in this mock, is that if a Pokemon traces Shadow Tag, or like if two Pokemon have Shadow Tag, they're not trapped in with each other. And that was actually in my recent competitive fun facts video, and I learned it from these mocks because I didn't know that prior. And it makes sense, like, so that Wab Mirror matchups aren't infinite battles. But yeah, I didn't know that beforehand, and I was super confused as to how he switched out when he did this. But I know now, obviously, as this thing's going to come back in. It's going to click Moonblast into me. I do just kind of stay in and spam Shadow Ball at this point, because as long as that bundle isn't Scarf, I should be more than okay to beat this thing. So I'm going to Mach Punch, and then Dark Pulse comes out. Now, I'm a bit iffy in like a Scarf bundle endgame there, but, and I knew it wasn't Booster, or if it was Booster, it had already used it. So, yeah, overall, pretty happy with how that one ended up going. Wait, did I know it wasn't Scarf at this point, too? Hold on. Because I came in, yeah, I knew it wasn't Scarf because it had switched moves. So I would have trapped Scarf earlier. So, yeah, that's going to be Mach 1 against Big. Pretty simple stuff. I kind of just, like, go over my lead there, and I learned about the Shadow Tag interaction. Next up is against Box, my good buddy. Someone who's, I've been playing Pokemon since I literally started with. He was in my first league. So I love Box. He's been giving me mocks for the last, like, 3-4 years without even really playing himself anymore. So I absolutely like him. Or absolutely love him to death. Great guy. I like him. He's a cool guy. But you're going to see, again, this is, like, another instance where Lead Moth goes absolutely crazy. There's a ton with Discharge. Takes no damage from that Dark Pulse. Here I make a good mid-ground. I go for a Fiery Dance. Do about 78. I am going to scout for Scarf, though, because he hasn't shown me an item. No reason not to. I don't think Play Rope ever comes out there, and if it does, so be it. Not the end of the world. I am going to go for a U-turn right here. Forcing the Gambit, and this is kind of why Tusk is here. It's my only Gambit check, so I'm going to get up rocks here on the Juggalist coming in. Going to go hard out in a Moth. It's left a Hurricane as long as that thing wasn't Specs, and if it was Specs, that's good to know for me. But I am just going to Discharge, pick it off. Again, pretty darn freely. Bundle's going to come out, show to be Boots, which means I have a very free Earth Ring, while my Moth can potentially take a hit from it, depending on, like, you know, how invested it may be. I know that my Earth Ring can check it very well. We're going to see this Hippowdon come in. It is not Rocky Helmet, which is also really good to know for this, you know, kind of matchup in particular. I see Leftovers, so I go hard Gothitelle, and I just start Energy Balling right here. No reason not to. Now, I do have to be very careful about this, Volcarona coming in, because my Earth Ring is a little bit chipped at this point, but we saw how little it does take from those Bug Buzz. You're going to see 26 right here. So we actually eat that up, showing that the one last game was more defensive. But yeah, I'm just going to rest up, get back up to full. He ends up Rapid Spinning away as I Sleep Talk, get a Body Slam, knock this thing out. Gambit comes in, I get to go right into Tusk, even if he was like Aerial Ace, I lived. Now Grass Knot could have been a little bit scary, but you know, beyond that, we're just going to kind of Earthquake twice, because I don't die to Grass Knot into Sucker Punch at this point, so I'm going to be able to eat up the Sucker Punch, go off a big EQ, knock this guy out, and then from here, it's Bear Season. I just stay in and sack this guy off, and you're going to see this is kind of the end game that I'm envisioning. If there is no King Gambit, and Urshin gets that free switch in, and there's only these, you know, annoying special attackers left, I can kind of sit in front of teams like this very, very easily. I think I rest up right here. You're going to see I stall this bundle out of pumps. Unless he crits me, he's doing 30% and does not 3-KO me in the slightest. As I do get a couple bulk ups, just rest up. Same thing. Bear's going a little bit crazy right now. He does click Quiver right here. It doesn't really matter unless he gets like double crit and I miss Body Slam. But yeah, from there we take 37 from this. Absolutely eat that up. And then we're going to throw off Body Slam and just Oko that motherfucker, which is pretty crazy as well. And we live the hit from bundle. We're able to take home a nice dub here against Box in our second mock, kind of showing off Lead Moth going crazy and how well Ursaring does in an endgame, provided we can eliminate things like King Gambit and Hippowdon from the picture, which is awesome. Okay, next up, this one against Clyde, I actually get really lucky a lot in this one, so there's not a lot to super analyze. Big shout out to Clyde for giving me this mock, though. But I get pretty darn lucky in this one. You're going to see this is our Moth just absolutely eating a hit from bundle and getting off that discharge damage. While it might not kill immediately right here, it does guarantee me a Mock Punch Revenge always, and any kind of chip on this thing, so that Mock Punch Revenge is possible. It's great. I'm able to save this thing. He goes for Aurora Veil, which is pretty nasty. Again, nice big crit here on the Volcarona coming in, and then a body slam. Again, I just kind of spam this. Even if I get burned, I got the flame. I got flame body, so or I got guts, so I'm absolutely chilling right here. Fiery Dance is gonna pop once again. We knock him out with the body slam with that guts boost, which is awesome. I mean, he was a crit there, but it really doesn't matter. I make a pretty aggressive pivot into Hydreigon on a Hydro Pump as, what do you call it, does absolutely nothing, and I still feel like I can use this Ursaring to my advantage and rest up on something like a Slowking pretty darn easily, or even just off a strong body slam or something like that. As Gothitelle is going to come out here. Aurora Veil is up still, but from here I can kind of just click Shadow Ball. I get dropped though, so I am kind of forced out. I sack off my Moth because it doesn't really beat much left besides the Serena, which I'm not super worried about. And I wanted to switch into my Bear to kind of get up a rest, because I do rest on the Gardevoir as well, which is pretty darn crazy. We're able to get off a Body Slam. Chilly Reception's going to pop. Out comes the Kingambit, but I'm not super worried about Kingambit. Loki can come out, but it's not really doing much to me. I click Body Press. In hindsight, I think Earthquake was probably the play, showing that it was a physically defensive Slowking, but oh well. I get into Hydreigon on the Slack Off. I click Dark Pulse, get a flinch, and here I make a double into Great Tusk, expecting that Kingambit to come in. And from here, I believe I just cut up my rocks, and we're in a pretty good spot still. I go Ursaring. I always have it for this. I'm just gonna click Sleep Talk. I believe just get a Body Slam, and get a crit and knock this thing out. Now I do want to mention, and this is kind of like my way of mentioning again, I get pretty lucky here. Rocks don't go away, but while I'm sleeping, Guts is still active, despite it, not being like burn, poison, or anything like that. So those are Guts boosted body sense when I'm throwing them off, which is another reason why this thing is absolutely terrifying for our opponent. Go right back onto Great Tusk as my Ursaring kind of beats the last two mods. After hazards, I just do it Kayle Slowking, which is really funny. I just get 2 turns of leftovers out of it, which is awesome. I go hard into my Ursaring. If he wants to trick, that's fine, because that's what this is here for, to check this only now. So I think I just wake up, I click Body Slam, I bring this thing down to 3%, and from here, Breloom is just going to win right here, as I kind of rest up and then sack Hydreigon. Kind of convoluted, don't really need to do either of those things. I could have just sacked off my Ursaring, spamming Body Slam, but I think I also wanted to cover like a Kingambit double or something like that. But right here, you can see this thing just die through Choppleberry to that close combat, which is also pretty darn funny. Okay. Next up, we have a game against Jesse 504. And the main thing with this one is that I kind of realized that Tusk is even more so needed, because I was kind of thinking about taking it off, because Kingambit just was handled by Breloom in a lot of matchups. And it really wasn't doing well against anything else. But I realized how good it was for sand variants, because the rest of my team is incredibly weak to like Stone Edge plus Play Rough from that Lycanroc. Like, it's very, very weak to it, so I have to be super careful. Again, we scout for Scarf right here. I'm going to U-turn out as I'm Scarf myself, and I can go into my Echo, because I know at that point, if he's Scarf too, then he's going to click Power Whip, but he's not Scarf if he's staying in my opinion. He's probably like an Assault Vest variant, trying to get off a High Jump Kick player or something like that. And now after that U-turn chip, I can knock it out with the Fiery Dance. So a little bit more of a convoluted start to the game, but not the biggest deal in the world. As the Freeze Strike comes out on Big Bear eats it up very easily. U-turn. I think I Body Slam and I rest on the Hippowdon switching out as Volt comes in trying to catch my double. I'm assuming into something like Goth. And again, this is my check. This is what I'm using to beat this thing. So I'm just going to kind of sit in here and click Body Slam. Guts Body Slam just puts this thing in range of one more turn of sand. So we'll take it. 37 from this offensive bulk here. I get rest, but it doesn't really matter that much. I actually wake up next turn. So when I want to rest on that bundle, I can do so. Player of Predict does absolutely nothing to defensive Great Tusk. And again, this is really, really nice for me. Like, incredibly, incredibly nice. As right here, Hippowdon comes out. You see I go into Gothitelle, and this is where I kind of realized that Grass Knot is better, because it does so much more damage to this thing. And whereas Specs Energy Ball is doing like 70-ish%, I have a chance to knock out some Hippos with Grass Knot. So figured it was a lot better, and Grass Knot was a pretty free lock in this end game. All of his mons were weak to grass at the very least. But yeah, from here, it's basically just kind of positioning my Breloom in slowly but surely to win with Mach Punch. And Chilly Reception comes out. Again, we're able to go right back into Big Bear here as we get Encored. So Encore was a smart bring. I just sack off my Moth to get off some discharge damage so that I can kill this thing with a Bullet Seed pretty much right after, and that's like basically the game. Bundle can come in afterwards, but we just Mach Punch into Hydra and kill it, or even into Ursaring and deal with it. So realistically, we're all good. Wanted to give Bear the final kill. He gets a sleep talk that we're there. And that's that game. And then lastly, we have Kayle here, and they brought a Serena Palmot, which is the main thing I wanted to kind of show off. Gardevoir, Bundle, Gambit, and Hippo. And the main thing I wanted to show off was that Special Palmot was incredible versus me. It was a really, really smart bring by Kayle. And she brought Special Palmot with like Grass Knot, Focus Blast, and it was really, really obnoxious for me to deal with. Like incredibly, incredibly obnoxious. We also see that if I see Serena lead for some reason, I'm just not going to Terra turn 1, obviously. I feel like it just makes sense. I'm going to Fiery Dance on this Gardevoir. I don't want to get like, I don't know, Psyshocked or Psychic Scarf variants. And yeah, I just kind of slowly chip away and start clicking some buttons and things like that. I do want to show off the Palmot being really scary though. Is right here, I'm in with my water type. He goes U-turn, goes on to the fighting type. I go hard Great Tusk. You see a Volt Switch, and thankfully Focus Blast didn't come out, because like Focus Blast and a Grass Knot or anything just killed. I got my rocks in this Palmot's face because in my head I'm like, I can't do anything, completely forgetting about the Grass Knot stuff. So I do save my Great Tusk because it's faster than the Gambit, doesn't die to Sucker Punch, and can still check it. And Moth is low enough to where I don't need it anymore. So I am just going to sack it off. It shows me that I really need to be careful with Palmot, because Palmot plus the combination of it and King Gambit means I can super lose to King Gambit if Palmot forces all that damage on my Great Tusk. So we have to be very, very careful at how we deal with that. I am going to go into my Gothitail here. You're going to see me just click Focus Blast right here. Serena comes out. It's going to Rapid Spin, which gets it off, but I can just U-turn, get my rocks maybe later, depending on how things go. And you're going to see this thing is just absolutely demon versus me. I go into my Tusk to get a little bit of leftovers, and I'm able to get into my Hydreigon. I didn't think you'd want to risk like a Focus Blast miss. Maybe if you use Mixed Close Combat, that would have felt really bad. But I U-turn out on the Gothitail, on the Focus Blast. He does show Volt Switch again this next turn right here, as I believe I just click Focus Blast and the Gambit switch in and miss. But I click it again, just kind of nuts on the table, as I don't want to deal with this thing. You'll see Chople Berries have not been going well for King Gambit in these at all, as we just nuke it through its Chople. This next turn, if he misses a pump, then I can, or if she misses a pump, sorry, I can just kill it with Focus Blast. They don't, unfortunately, but again, Bears, you know, always going to check this thing. Get off a Body Slam on the Hippowdon. Now, it's a little bit annoying not having my Gothitail to trap this Hippo, but at this point, I can also just sack off my Great Tusk and try and get up some rocks, if at all possible, which is great. If it's not a Boots bundle, it's great at chipping it down. Great at chipping the Palmot down in range of Mach Punch and things of the sort. Just go Breloom. Just going to click Bullet Seed. No reason not to at this point. Palmot comes out. It didn't kill me with Focus Blast, I don't think. But I knock it out with Close Combat. This Boots bundle comes out. Goes down to 9% from this Mach Punch. And then we go into Bear to get the kill. Could have gone Hydra either. So all these mocks are pretty darn close. I didn't lose any of them, but they're all pretty darn close. And I think that's how the game is going to go as well, honestly. I think Kurt has some really scary offense. But I think actually Bear is like the glue holding this team together. We would crumble to bundle Volk if it wasn't for Bear. So I'm really hoping he pops off in the actual game this week. Be sure to sub and stick around for that tomorrow. And yeah, that being said, see you guys in the next one. Later.